AI platform, Gen AI platform, it lied actually
Yeah.
itself, to protect itself from getting deleted.
Hi, everyone. I'm Raghav Aggarwal, co founder of Fluid AI. And today we start off with AI adventures. These are interactions, discussions with folks who are really taking AI into their enterprises, into their communities, and changing the way businesses as well as societies function. As our first guest today, we have Aman Walia. He is the Assistant Vice President at Wonder Cement, where he's leading a lot of the technology evangelism as well as the technology initiatives which are changing the way business happens. Aman has been, looking at AI. He's an avid poster on LinkedIn. In fact, I would encourage you to follow him. He's been discussing a lot, not just about AI in business, but about AI as a general concept. So that would be an interesting conversation we'll have with him today. Also, Aman brings in manufacturing as an area, right? Typically, AI is seeing something that banks and healthcare does. But it's really inspiring to see leaders such as Aman take AI to sectors like manufacturing and to industries like cement, which we typically don't see as leaders in the space, but are massively transforming themselves using AI. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Aman onto our podcast. Hi, Aman. How are you
Okay,
doing?
I'm really good, Raghav. Thank you so much. First of all, let me take 2 seconds to thank you and your team for having me on this podcast.
No, it's our pleasure, Aman. And, it's been wonderful to see just some of the work you've been doing in the space. And we are really excited today, to discuss with you. You've spent a lot of time in manufacturing, and you've seen those transformations happen from, the digital transformation, the IoT 4.0, the new digital factories that people talk about. How do you think the AI and this LLM transformation is going to happen in manufacturing?
So I believe that let me take a step back when we are discussing about the manufacturing and how AI is going to play a major role in future in it. So I remember when this concept of Industry 4.0 and then the 5.0 become really, a talk of the town, where everybody was talking about uh, building an Industry 4.0 framework in a manufacturing organization, and then gradually moving to Industry 5.0. I always felt that during these conversations, there is some element of actual integrity is missing with respect to that. Okay, we are doing everything. So Industry 5.0 basically talks about predictive analytics, right?
True.
Doing some predictive and all. But again, we are depending upon a human mind or human intelligence to take the right action after looking at that data.
True.
So whether that action has been taken or not, having a data in front of us with the actionable insight doesn't serve any purpose until unless we actually go ahead and take that action and and create a value out of it. So I believe this generative AI which has just come up, it has actually provided that platform to the manufacturing industries that they are now, they don't have to depend upon a person or somebody
True.
sitting in any in a cabin or in a control room somewhere to get the actionable insights and take an action. For an example,
Okay.
now the process industries like any manufacturing industries from cement to automotive to any other, even healthcare, pharmaceuticals.
Right.
So for them, they are putting up AI solutions which
Right.
actually make their processing lines efficient
True.
by real time visualizing the flow of data coming through the sensors, coming to that particular platform, and then giving taking the required actions, based upon after understanding, making sense out of the data. So
Right.
that is something which has really changed the whole concept of how the AI can play a role in any manufacturing industry.
So, Aman, you're literally saying that previously it was informational flows, right? The systems were giving you the information, but now it's almost actions that are flowing, right? You're saying the
It
information
has
is coming in.
it's always has to be action oriented, right? I mean, if I take an example, look at an Iron Man suit,
Okay.
right? If an Iron Man suit will not take an action based upon external threat coming to it, right? Automatically, so it will it wait for Tony Stark to given an order? Okay, now take this action. I have seen the data. Okay, you are okay. Let's do it.
You should
It
do
has to
this.
be
Yeah.
like
Right.
otherwise, it's going to be life and death kind of a situation for that particular for Tony Stark. So similarly
True.
here in manufacturing, if you're not taking action on time with that data, and there's a delay in taking an
Correct.
action, you miss the bus, buddy. So you have to. It was that way during the industry 4.0 and 5.0, and I believe that has bridged the gap. And
Okay.
I mean, possibilities are endless now.
Yeah, no, I think Aman, that's a really great point. So like we've been in the AI space for 12 years. And there were times when the AI was extremely accurate. So I remember this one use case where we were predicting upsell. We were literally telling, okay, this is the next product you should sell to this customer. And it was really accurate. We were not seeing the sales rise for that organization. So we dug deeper and we realized that the sales folks who were getting those predictions that this is what you should upsell, they were literally taking that Excel, printing it out and keeping it in the drawer. They were not actioning it all. So that human tendency, right, it has to go beyond information to action. I think well sound.
When I was doing MBA in NMIMS, I read one case study. Uh, there's a huge uh, organization of FMCG in UK, right?
Mhm.
So there was this case study. I don't want to take any names as if now because it's gonna published.
Sure.
So the case study was that somebody went into the store of that
Mhm.
organization. He started yelling at the manager
Okay.
how you can suggest a, a baby product and a pregnant woman products to my daughter.
Right. Yeah.
She is barely 16 years old. How you can suggest those to her?
Yeah.
And manager being manager at the store, he apologized. He apologized. I mean, the way he has to ensure the customer in the end, he's a customer
The
for
customer
him.
is always right. Yeah.
Yeah, but when he went back and talked to her daughter, and after few days, a few weeks, he again went back to the same store and he apologized to the manager. Her daughter was actually pregnant,
Yeah.
and the way they were able to do that is they actually created this whole data that
Correct.
what pregnant woman or women who are going to get pregnant, they actually
How?
started buying. What are the buying
Okay.
patterns? What items they
Yeah.
buy? What items they bought, and all those things. And a lot of data they have, and this is all being done by the AI engine at the back, and it is
Correct.
started recommending to the end consumer.
Correct.
I mean, that's kind of action. I mean, story is little
Yeah.
awkward, but still, it makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense.
Correct. And it's so powerful, right? Like literally the store knew it before the father knew it in terms of
Yeah,
predicting something.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So Aman, like one thing, that brings me to my next sort of major point is that, service organizations, retail, banks, healthcare, telco, all of these are seen like, the use cases are pretty like, everyone knows what we can do in Gen AI. You can do customer service, you can do marketing, you can do sales. There's a wide playing field. But when it comes to manufacturing, how do you think manufacturing orgs take this forward? Because it's a little more of an involved discussion, right? Because for you, there's the low hanging fruit of customer service and all doesn't exist because you typically are selling through distribution channels, etc., right? So where do you think manufacturing will play in this entire Gen AI era?
So manufacturing, from with respect to our kind of an industry, or if I can touch upon this every industry for that matter.
Yeah.
So Raghav, I was reading one report that there is a 20% increase in the AI adoption in manufacturing industries in last 2 years, right? In India, that was
Okay.
Economic Times article which I was reading. and specifically in pharma side, it has increased many folds, right? And with respect to retail and FMCG is the next. There's around 43% increase in that. However, any process industry like us or textile, they are still little far behind. But now the what you call that the CGR or for that growth is expected to be 53% in next by 2030. And the reason
Right.
only being is now the actions are coming in.
Okay.
The actual somebody can doesn't have to rely on someone to take their action. So
The
action
agentic piece.
oriented AI solutions are coming in. The
Right.
one example I have already given of process efficiency. Similarly, from a power optimization per se, if a
Okay.
machine is running on less load or is not running at all, is not consuming or generating any kind of an output, the power can be reduced for that particular machine. The AI can do that for you. You don't have to rely on a person, right? To do that. It just and it can be done. It's not like okay, 8 to 10. I have to give a full power to a particular machine,
Right.
and 10 to 8 it's gonna be less, right? It was a business rule earlier. People used to do that, but it's now
Right.
even if between 8 to 10 days is the opportunity window to reduce the power. Let's do that. That's a cost optimization you will get,
True.
right? Similarly, from a demand forecasting perspective, earlier the demand forecasting which was getting generated, it was around with 43-45% accuracy. Now it has
Wow.
reached beyond 75% accuracy. Now the demand forecasting for process industries has reached beyond 75% accuracy because of the new models which are coming in, the kind of outputs they are generating and how fast they are generating, right? So it has tremendous potential in supply chain, amazing potential to read out any decision to plan a distribution based upon the cost optimization and all. I mean, it is tremendous. You don't have to depend upon a person to do any such kind of a thing, and it's near real time.
Yeah, that's true, Aman. Like, it becomes so powerful, right? In terms of, like you said, from 40, 45%, 75%. And that's because I guess it's going into the softer data pieces, right? It's not just what your ERP is saying anymore. It can imagine a Gen AI platform that can read industry reports, or it can be connected to the weather because, in industries such as yours, weather plays a role because, realistic construction happens more when the rains are over. So that accuracy can just keep building on because the data sets now accessible are much more than the older data sets, right? Which we were when we were restricted to what our ERP is saying.
Absolutely, very true.
Aman, like we've discussed so many use cases, supply chain, discussed the actual, IoT data sort of going in. How does all of this come together for you? Like, do you think it's a horses for courses, each sort of has its own platform, or do you look at it as that it will be one platform which will run multiple use cases? What are you thinking and seeing when you sort of deploy GenAI across your org?
See, it's a journey, Raghav, to be with the way I see it. It's gonna be the first of all, it's gonna be individual platforms or individual areas of interest where it's gonna get matured, it's gonna get accurate,
Right.
trained, and all. And in the later part, when we're talking about somebody sitting in the central, it's like the concept of having an AI CEO. I don't call it a CEO. It's kind of an AI COO, Chief Operating
CEO.
Officer,
Okay.
CEO. So that the person is having now complete knowledge with respect to all the value chains in any manufacturing organization, and can guide them into the right decision, so that in the end from these models it will go up into that particular model for that specific areas, and for the CEO perspective, what are the
Okay.
decisions or what are the strategies should be for next month with respect to business plan which has been already defined and designed in the financial year.
So you're almost saying that there will be these use case specific AIs, but it's key for them to talk to each other, right? So we get that AI CEO sort of who is
Yes.
managing, and that I guess that's interesting from an impact perspective as well, right? Because then the AIs are not siloed, they're obviously doing good in their narrow AIs, but you almost have that AGI. Well, I wouldn't say AGI, but pseudo AGI for the company, right? That general
Absolutely.
intelligence.
Absolutely. Well, that is something because it will have a dual benefit. Now, one benefit is to have a you don't have to disturb other function if you want to train someone one model in one function, and that other function is working as it is. And secondly, the guardrails are easy to deploy, right? You have to have those guardrails, and you have to create those silos now with respect to AIs as well, so that they don't start taking decisions which
Outside.
where there is no human intervention. So human, I always believe that a human should be there in loop
Okay.
right now for any kind of a decision in terms of critical decisions which can
True.
really impact the outcome. A human intervention is required.
No, I think Aman, that's very important. This HIL concept, right? Human in the loop,
Yeah.
and it's also the evolutionary, right? So, like I remember once we were doing this use case, which was quite complex. It was customer support, and there was a lot of concern that the AI is going to directly interact with the customer. So we literally made it a step-by-step process. We said, okay, step one, we'll assist human support agents to talk better to the customer. Step two, we did email, and then we took it to phone calls. So that HIL concept, it's also not just a it's a need, right? Because otherwise you can get some very dramatic results, and it helps the AI sort of ease in. Right?
Absolutely, it helps AI easy, and it helps the team also to start getting to build the trust on this AI, because in the end AI is going to be now part of that particular team. So
True,
that trust needs to be built in to ensure that that decisions which are coming, they are evaluated by somebody, by a human. But eventually it's going to be autonomous in future, that is
true.
for sure. But for initial stage, I believe there's always agile concept will should remain to
True.
ensure the authenticity and integrity of the platform.
No, sounds good. So, Aman, just switching gears, I wanted to talk to you about your own personal usage of Gen AI. Like, where are you using it? And I think a lot of our listeners would just want to know that how do you sort of make yourself personally more productive using Gen AI?
So personally, I mean, like everybody is using it nowadays. I believe I'm using Chat GPT or any such platform for more of research, to
Okay.
get more to understand more about certain topics. Like I remember I was doing something with respect to a podcast, right? I just like I
Okay.
told you, just started my own podcast with respect to with the topic of inspiring people, right?
Sure.
More of entrepreneurs who started from scratch and how they were able to build a good organization, right? And I did one, and for that I tried to create a script. So I
Okay.
took a help of ChatGPT to create a script for me, and then fine
Okay.
tuned it to
Sure.
my extent. But it was able to, which I would have taken 4 or 5 hours. It was there with me in next 15 to 20 minutes. So that's where
Wow.
how it has made me productive, multitasking also, so that I was able to do something else
Okay.
during that period of time. Apart from that, I'm using generative AI also to I would say teach my kids,
Oh, really?
right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a very good example. I remember when I was they were discussing on some certain math problem which they were having, and I was trying to explain them that how it works. It works, but somehow my I was not able to go to that level, at the level of the
Got
kid
it. I got
with
it.
that
Take
example.
it down. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So the chat GPT, or not such any, I went into that, and okay, I'm trying to explain this particularly with an example, telling me a great example for this, not so that he can understand he's of this age and all. And it gave me such a good example. He was like, "Oh, I understood."
Okay. Because it
Now
can simplify the concept, right? Yeah.
that's amazing. I mean, the way it is helping people. I mean, and I see. I'll tell you very interestingly that Chat GPT has commoditized this generative AI.
True.
AI people, and that's actually accelerated the force. I remember before 2023, people were talking a lot about metaverse,
Oh
right?
yes. Oh, that was huge. Yeah.
So metaverse, and there's an article I published in my
Okay.
LinkedIn also. You should go and read it. That the concept I also discussed, that how metaverse and generative AI will collide, will not collide. I would say will collaborate in future. It will happen,
Okay.
but I mean the things are going in that direction that people are more focus on Gen AI, but metaverse has not died yet. It will not. I mean, it's a good concept from a digital land from a digital landscape perspective, or a digital or from digital use cases perspective. It has tremendous possibilities. But I remember 2023 people like Metaverse, there were organizations like spending a lot of money in that,
Yeah.
Microsoft, Facebook, and all.
Facebook changed its name to Meta. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was not common. It was not a commodity that time. It
True.
was more they tried to push it as a business,
Correct.
and because of which it was not getting that kind of a growth.
Sure.
Generative AI, Chat GPT, what happened? It has become a commodity.
Hmm.
Now with that commodity, people it has reached masses. So when
Yeah.
it has
It's
reached masses
democratized.
already, so
Yeah.
businesses are now are very relaxed that they don't have to inculcate that change at the lower
True.
level of
Yeah.
using such kind of a technology. So people are well aware what it can do. So
Very
you
true.
just need to find the possibilities within the organization within the organization, and how you
Hmm.
can build those business related use cases in it, so that you can generate an ROI out of it.
No, that's very true, Aman. I think metaverse, if anything, I think Gen AI, because these AI avatars, right? If they're powered by Gen AI and they're not just pre-programmatic, flow based and you click and stuff, but they're really real. Imagine the kind of experience, right? You go into the metaverse and you may be talking to a Gen AI of, let's say, Newton, and that could be trained on all of Newton's works, etc. So you could have a imagine kids learning gravity from Newton himself, and that experience. I think metaverse and Gen AI, yeah, there's still there's some journey to go, but it will be exciting, definitely.
Very, very good example, Raghav. Very good example. And I always believe these technologies are there not for manufacturing and all. I think always the first implementation should be in healthcare. That how soon
Okay.
we can detect a sickness in a human being, how soon we can or how soon we can initiate the recovery in a human body.
Correct.
Those movies wherein they can scan a human body and take to a treatment immediately. I want to see that
Sure.
happen, right? So that
Yeah.
people should be get treated easily. I mean, they should not suffer.
So, Aman, one interesting area you were talking about, and I was reading your LinkedIn post on, was the AI chain of thought and the inspiration from Terminator. Could you talk about it very briefly? And obviously, folks, you can check out Aman's post on that. But just that was an interesting article, and I thought it'd be interesting to hear from.
So I'm a huge sci-fi movie fan, right? And that's where this passion and enthusiasm with respect to technology always comes in. If somebody who has seen Terminator 1, 2, and followed the sequels, so Terminator 1, in that movie, there was a difference in Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, the actual the robot which came. In Terminator 1, he was not able to do the reasoning. The chain of thoughts
Okay.
were not there, right? He was came with set agenda, one goal that he needs to kill Sarah Connor, right? He was just pursuing that, and he was not able to take a decision with respect to what is best way or best suited for him and all those things. Whereas in Terminator 2, if you see, his goal was to protect him,
Correct.
so he was taking, or and he was also giving the orders that he needs to follow John Connor. Whatever he says, he needs to do that. But he
Okay.
was also building some reasoning whenever he was giving some instruction which could endanger his life, John
True.
Connor's life. So he was actually lying about it, either okay, we'll do it or we'll not do it, or he
Okay.
was actually giving him reason why should not we do it. These are the
Right. He's
potential
becoming
threats.
autonomous in some sense. Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that's how the chain of thoughts actually they've shown in Terminator One, and then to Terminator Two it has come up. Similarly, what is happening right now, and I remember, I think 3 4 days back, there's one article what was circulating on social media wherein AI platform, the Gen AI platform, it lied actually to protect
Yeah.
itself, from getting deleted,
True.
right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, the article which I published in that I built it, it was around more than a month back, right?
True.
And it actually
It's
happened.
happening.
I was
Yeah.
like, who's going to be our John Connor?
I don't. Yeah, to imagine that, in the 80s, the Terminator movies actually, it's coming back in 40 years, right? And it's coming back quickly.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
crazy.
It's very fascinating. I never believed that it's going to happen this soon. So I was always assuming this is going
Yeah.
to happen during my kid's lifetime. Something this sort of which is happening right now.
This significant change.
I
Aman,
think
like,
the whole this concept is going to change when the quantum computing will come into play.
yeah,
If it becomes operational, and if it is there, I mean it's gonna change things. It's gonna change things. I
that's
know
going to be huge.
how the space exploration is going to happen, how the advancements in medicine, maybe cancer will be curable. It's gonna be you will go and take a on the shelf medicine for that. I don't know how. I mean, it's going to create a lot of new things for us.
Yeah, and it's also going to break all our passwords, right? Because all
Um,
the encryption, it'll just break it in one
if
go.
someone's going to go off the shelf, they have to redesign everything.
Everything from scratch.
Yes.
So I'm changing track on this. One question: what company inspires you? Like, obviously you're reading a heavily techified organization. You've done digital transformation, but what company are you inspired by to sort of say, hey, in my current role, if I can take my company to that would be something fundamentally great, or some or a company you feel that's done really well in its tech transformation in this field.
Automotive. The automotive sector done really good. I mean, with respect to inventory, with respect to supply chain, with respect to R&D, with respect to distribution channels, with respect to services. I mean, they have each and everywhere they have such kind of an elements inbuilt, wherein they're using AI, right? And that's really inspired. That's really inspiring, and I think they are now with the concept of Gen AI, they are doing lot of new things into this.
So, any particular company within automotive that you feel is really killing it or really changing things?
I believe Mahindra. So I'm vocal for local kind of a person. So I believe the Mahindra, and it is actually giving this AI capabilities. I mean, have you seen the BE60?
No, I'm
The
not.
event which they did. I mean, the event which they did. I mean, it's they have surpassed certain standards of a European car also. I mean,
True.
that's well, they have done that as shown event. I'm not a. It's my point of view only. I'm not marketing anybody in anywhere. But the way the event was showcased and the way the data they are showing, I mean, it's fantastic. And they have brought this to an end customer, to the end consumer, the AI features and all.
Right.
And it's brilliant. I mean, auto parking feature, auto stop. They've given one example related to that, that how this can, that how the AI can function and actually stop the car. So we're talking about that only. So that's, I think Mahindra is going many folds. They're setting the benchmark.
And Aman, like when you look at these kind of AI implementations, obviously we've talked a lot about the good stuff, right? Transformation, change, accuracy rises. How obviously there are risks, right? And they, genuinely so their concerns. How do you balance them in your AI implementations as you roll out AI? How are you looking at risk and how are you looking at safeguards against risk?
So whenever, if I take a pause here, that when we talk about AI, the risks are at different levels. There are risks associated with the people, when there's a change, because there's a lot of change management will get into play when we ever get such kind of a platform. Then there is a risk associated with the technology itself, right? Especially with a technology like AI, generative AI, which has an agentic AI kind of a role, where it can take certain actions. So it will become it will be a huge cybersecurity threat for any organization. You know, they have to protect it anyhow because it is taking some decision in autonomous ways and all. And with respect to the last and the foremost, very important for me is the AI model itself or the AI itself, that whether the decisions are unbiased or not, uh, right? So that is very important, and that's why I always say HIL has to be there right now.
Okay.
Let's
Sure.
it has to become.
And in terms of when you look at it from a leadership perspective, right? Leaders outside of technology, because we interact with business leaders, we have to, as technologists, obviously we have a vision, we understand these, but how do you sort of, and they are getting bombarded as well, right? Because the AI conversation is no longer just technology; it's across the business function. Everyone's sort of saying, "How do we do this?" How do you sort of you know help business leaders take these decisions, right? The risk versus reward kind of decisions. How do you sort of navigate those kind of things?
See, as a business leader, if I may say, I mean there are a lot of different kind of risks which will come into play now for me. First is skill gap. There's a lot of
Hmm.
skill gap right now in any organization with respect to AI, because we are in AI. This generative AI or AI is not now going to be a function specific product. It's
True.
going to be for end user, end person, whomsoever it may be, for employee or and if you have a distribution channel for distributors and all, they have to be, skilled up for that. They have to be geared up for that. They need to be, their skill needs to be enhanced for that. That's a major skill gap I'm seeing right now, which will be a challenge for any, which will be a great risk for any organization, because sustaining and growth is very important for this kind of a technology, right? And the second and foremost risk which I foresee with respect to this kind of tool is the cost and the complexity it comes with,
True.
right? The cost is still not that every organization can quickly adopt it or start using it. It's really high as of now, and the tech complexity is also there.
No, I think both points, Aman, very well. I think definitely this people think AI is self-adoptable, but when we take it to the enterprise, there's definitely a inherent skilling that's needed, right? Both on managing and maintaining it, but also on using it, right? Because it's a muscle you need to sort of develop within your staff to use it to get the right results out of it, right? Because it's garbage in, garbage out, results in results. So I think that's definitely important. And secondly, I think what you talked about cost, right? It's because it's so new, it's so difficult to estimate sometimes that how much will this end up costing? How is ROI coming? And that's a conversation that can get quite complex fairly quickly.
So that's why always, whenever I advocate such kind of a technology, now it is generative AI. Earlier there was predictive analytics and all, right? It's a leap of faith you have to take at times, right? To invest some money to take that risk. It may go right, it may go wrong, right?
Yeah.
But if any organization doesn't take that risk, they will be in the race, or they will lose that race anyhow. If right, so they
Sure.
have to take that chance. So
Yeah.
that's what we do in house also, or where I'm working right now. And that, let's take that risk,
Yeah.
and let's focus, not all everything, or everything on the say, at the same time. Let's
Right.
create certain MVPs. Let's create
Yes.
MVPs. Let's talk to the people. Let's create journey. So for any manufacturing organization, it's very important that they need to start with very small. They should
Right.
start with small. They should complete their low hanging fruits. The areas where the low hanging fruits are there, they should do that.
Right.
and then build a roadmap, journey roadmap,
True.
right? And very important aspect over here is that the alignment and people should be there from all the functions, so they have to be aligned. They need to bring in same page for this thing.
True.
It will not never be a function of an IT or role of an IT function to make sure this is successful to make it a success in a company. It has to be a collaborative effort,
True.
right? To because improvement are very important, which will come from the operation side of the team. So
Exactly.
that's how it should be.
So it's almost, yeah, I think that's so well summed up, right? This is not just technology for technology's sake. You almost have to have everyone sort of aligned. And the approach of, smaller MVPs have a journey map, keep evolving the journey map, how those MVPs are evolving. But it sort of becomes so much easier when you sort of say, we don't know where we're going to end up, but we're going to start taking the steps in the direction. We have a map in place, and that map may change, and that's okay. But we're going to start.
Absolutely. I mean, start has to be there. Otherwise, you will lose that competitive edge. That's very in today's world, that is very important. So any technology which is coming in the market nowadays, it is just not for sake of it. It gives
True.
you a competitive edge in the market, right? So if you're not going to begin your journey as soon as possible, you might lose the race in future.
Perfect. So one last question, Aman, before we let you sign off, is what's your vision? 5, 10 years down the line, what do you want to sort of see Gen AI become and transform into in an enterprise setting?
So, like I said earlier, it will perform a role of a CEO,
Yo, okay.
right? And it will create a lot of, it will remove the bureaucracy from any organization, right? And the structure would be very lean, and that's how it's going to be. And I think people need to really gear up now and upskill themselves. It's very important. It's
Got it.
it's similar to what has happened during when computer came into banking in India
True.
or anywhere. Now people have to upskill themselves. Otherwise, or find new, because new roles, new skills will be created, but this will be there. And if you're not upskilling yourself, it's going to tough to survive. Then
Yeah, and it's like I always say, Aman, right? Like AI is not going to replace you, but someone using AI is going to replace you, and that someone can be
absolutely.
you. Yeah, right. You can be the one using AI.
Very well said. Very well said, Raghav. And I believe the person who knows AI will definitely the first person to replace you,
Yeah.
right?
Awesome,
And it's
Aman. It was wonderful talking to you today, and thank you for your insights. To all the listeners, Aman writes quite actively on LinkedIn. Do follow him there. And once again, thank you, Aman, today, and really looking forward to seeing what you come up with. And thanks again.
thank you, Raghav. Thank you for having me here.